Okay, I'm getting some head nods. All right, so here we go. Again, it's a blessing to be with everyone tonight, and I hope that this is useful. And please share your feedback with Ladon and Celine and with me. And I hope that this can be a small part of everybody pulling together to get through this time. This is, as Ladon said during her introduction, this is a very unique and very challenging time for a lot of people. I think in many ways it's particularly challenging for families, particularly challenging for families with children, with small children. And I wanted to sort of speak to some of that, some of those challenges, and also I think speak to some of the strengths that I see in the families that I've been working with around DC over the last few weeks, and that I hope to reflect back to you all, and would love some some feedback and some lessons that folks on this call are learning as well, because the best lessons are coming from the families who are making it every day. The reality is that everyone is struggling right now in some way. I don't know if anyone else has the experience that I have, but I wake up in the morning, I go downstairs, I'm first one up in the house, and I go to make the coffee in the morning, and and then it hits me. I've been awake for 2 or 3 minutes or 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and then I remember what's going on right now. What's going on with this virus? What's going on in our city? The fact that more people are getting sick every day. What's going on with the fact that our lives are disrupted in a way that they haven't been for most of us ever before. Um, and it still surprises me. It still shocks me every time the reality sort of dawns on me. And I think that that's an experience many people probably have. I know it's an experience that our children are having. And when we see our kids struggling, when we see our kids missing their friends, missing school, missing being able to go to the park, go to the playground, get out of the house, get back to the normal routines, that we can all understand that. And I think that we resonate with that. I think that we all have to just be okay with the fact, accept the fact that this is a time where there's fear and anxiety, there's anger over the way some of these things have been handled by leadership in our country, and there's a lot of uncertainty, and uncertainty puts people on edge and makes people tense. But if we remember that those are universal experiences right now, those are experiences that so many of us are having, I think that may be helpful. Ladon talked to me about the concept of resilience, and I think it's a really useful concept. And I think it's for a lot of families that I work with in DC, it's a very relevant and familiar concept when you start to talk about what it means. So I imagine everyone probably has their own definition for what it means to be resilient. What does resilience really mean? It's a word you hear tossed around a lot. I like simple definitions. The definition that I use for resilience with myself and with my patients is that resilience is the capacity to recover from difficulty. There may be even a better, shorter definition for it. Another definition for resilience could just be toughness. It's the ability to take what the world gives you and to get back up and keep going. And I imagine that people on this call, I know some of you, all the people on this call who I know have been through toughness, have been through difficulties, and are still going. And I imagine that's true for most or all the people that are together tonight. And I think that capacity to keep going in the face of difficulty is a very useful capacity. It's a very useful skill right now. Nobody on earth is born with resilience. It's not a gift that you're born with. Some people have, are gifted. They're born with a gift for art or for music or for speaking or for some kind of athletics. Nobody's born with a gift of resilience. Resilience is earned. You only get to be resilient by having survived things and made it through things. So a question that I think about is how does earning resilience help a person or a family or a community to feel hopeful, even in the current context, even in the current situation in which we find ourselves? How can you feel hopeful even when people are getting sick, people are dying, and the world is disrupted? And um, I don't think the question answers itself. I think it's worth thinking about, and maybe we'll come back to it in a few minutes. But one potential answer to it is that I think for many people, the current situation, it can remind them of other things that they have survived, of other times that they have faced difficulty and figured out a way through, of other times that they've helped someone that they love or care about to navigate a difficult time and have received that kind of help and support in return. Because this is one of those times right now. So that's where I think the hopefulness part can come in. I want to talk a little bit about something else that I mean, I'm going to just talk for 5 more minutes, and then we'll get to the discussion. So I promise you don't have to listen to me drone on for too long. But the next thing I wanted to mention was about how health and well-being is multi-generational. The way in which we navigate stress and maintain our balance, maintain our well-being, and stay healthy goes back and forth between generations, between parents and children, grandparents and parents, grandparents and children, aunts and uncles and other extended family, nephews, nieces, who reflect with one another a difficult experience and a way to survive it. And I spend, as Ladon mentioned, I'm a child psychiatrist. I spend most of my time with kids and their families. And the thing that I think about most often is how can parents or caregivers, when I say parents, I mean anybody who takes care of a child, who's a caregiver for a child. It could be a parent, grandparent, foster parent, auntie, etc. Anyone who's taking care, and don't forget the men, father, grandfather, uncles. The way that we as adults manage our own stress, our own tension, our own distress is the single biggest factor that will determine how our children manage. Because children, as everyone knows, are extraordinarily sensitive. They may not express it always with words, but they are paying very detailed attention to every look that comes across our face, to the tone of our voice, to the posture of our bodies. They are paying attention, and they are reading from us whether the world is safe or not, whether things are going to be okay or not, how this is all going to turn out. And most significant to them, are they going to be okay? And so the best way we can take care of our children during a time of crisis, and I think many people in communities around DC live in various kinds of crisis a lot of their lives. So I know this is not a first crisis for most people, but in this particular crisis, because this is where we are right now, what is going to determine how our kids do? It's how we do. If we find ways to manage our own stress and tension, if we find ways to stay well and to present to our kids calmness, strength, compassion, our kids are going to be just fine. They're going to get through this just fine, regardless of what happens in the weeks and months to come. So how do you do that? The people oftentimes refer to what happens on an airplane, which I think is a really good analogy of what they always teach you on an airplane is when the oxygen mask drops down, when there's a crisis going on, the adults should put on their mask first. And so what's the version of that right now? How can we as adults, as parents, I'm a parent too, how can I as a parent make sure that I'm putting on my oxygen mask first? We have to take care of ourselves in a very real way if we hope to be able to take care of our kids. And take care of other dependents in our lives. Many of you may take care of older parents or older family members as well. We have to take care of ourselves first in order to take care of anyone. So I just want to mention 4 ingredients that are true in all periods of time, but are particularly true right now in order for us all to keep our sanity and for us all to sort of stay on even keel, stay balanced so we can take care of our kids and others that rely upon us. So those 4 ingredients, the first is sleep. Sleep is the most important ingredient for our brains. It's just so critically important that we get restful sleep every night or almost every night. It's critical for our emotional health. We all know how much more irritable we are, how much more short-tempered we are when we haven't had a good night's sleep. It's also critical for our immune system. One night of bad sleep lowers your immune activity. It lowers the cells in your body that fight infection. And I don't have to tell you how important that is right now. So you need, over everything else that you do in your day, you need to prioritize getting, as best as possible, getting restful sleep every single night. It's critically important to be able to navigate this and to be your best the following day. So please, please, please get to bed early. Make your bedroom the most restful place that you can. Make sure that it's dark. Make sure that the temperature is cool. As much as possible, try to avoid disruptions during the night. Kick the pets out of your room. Keep your device. LaDon talked about phones. I'm obsessed with phones because I think that they just mess with us so much. Do not keep your phone in your room or by your bedside. Keep your phone at least on the other side of the room, if not outside the room. It actually helps you sleep better if it's not resting next to you. So that's number one. Ingredient number one is sleep. Number two is physical activity, which is really hard right now because we're so confined. But find some way to get physically active every day for at least 20 to 30 minutes every day. You can walk outside if you're able to manage that, if you can find the time. You can walk around your house or your apartment. You can do exercises like yoga or stretching in the house. There are lots and lots of free yoga and other exercise videos that are streaming now online. There's lots, that may be something that we can share with you in terms of resources. There's lots of places to get free access to good guided exercise routines. You don't have to do it for an hour or 2 hours. 20 minutes will make a big difference on your mood and on your sense of well-being, on your patience level with your children and with your significant other. It will also help you sleep better at night. So please, please remember to get physical activity every single day. Don't take a day off. So that's two, sleep, physical activity. Number three is social connection. You're all doing it right now. When we're in this state of isolation, we have to find ways to connect with other people. I really don't like the term social distancing. We're physical distancing. We're separating ourselves physically from other folks so that we can stay healthy and so everyone can get healthy as soon as possible. But we're not social distancing. We're staying close socially. And this is where the phones are good. Through texting and through FaceTime and through phone calls and Zoom calls. Call your family members, call your friends, call your college roommate that hasn't heard from you in 20 years. Check on your neighbor to make sure she's doing okay. Those little connections, those little outreaches that you make and others make to you every day are incredibly important for our sense of well-being. So every day, make 2 or 3 at least social outreaches where you're reaching out to somebody and making a connection, having a conversation and catching up. It really, really does reduce stress and helps us feel more human in a time that doesn't feel very human to be locked up in our homes right now. So I mentioned sleep, physical activity, social connection, and the fourth one may sound like a strange one, but the fourth one is really, really important too, and it's quiet. I really, really encourage everyone to find 5 minutes a day. Doesn't have to be more, but find 5 minutes a day just to sit somewhere quietly, without your phone, without kids barging in. You have to go outside to find it, hide in the laundry closet, somewhere that you can have 5 minutes to just sit with your thoughts, with your feelings, noticing your body, noticing your breath. Some people find it's helpful just to count breaths, count a breath in, and then count a breath back out, and just experience quiet. It helps our nervous systems to calm down. It helps our sense of tension and anxiety to come down. It makes us feel sane again. So there's so much that people are doing right now and so much going on in our homes. We're trying to teach our kids. We're trying to manage schedules. We're trying to keep our jobs. But find 5 minutes of quiet every day. It will pay off. You'll notice the benefits of it. So that's my sort of 5 minutes on self-care. Please remember sleep and physical activity, social connection, and quiet every single day. Those things are really, really going to be helpful. The last thing I wanted to mention is that I know from talking to Ms. Gladys and some other people on the call, how much some parents and other caregivers are stressing out about homeschooling and how much it's become an additional source of stress in the home, trying to make sure that our kids are getting the most out of their learning amidst everything else that's going on. And I really want to encourage folks to lower our expectations a little bit, to be compassionate with ourselves and our children. Our children are getting used to this new reality. Most of us are not trained as teachers, and that's not how we spend our time professionally. So be modest in your expectations. Be compassionate with your kids and with yourselves. Try to accomplish one good thing a day with your kids in learning. Have one good hour. where they're learning something, where they're concentrating. Don't insist on 2 or 3 or 4 hours of work every day. Don't turn things into a battleground around schoolwork or homework. It's not worth it. Every kid in America and many kids around the world are in the same boat right now in terms of not having access to normal educational resources. We're all going to get through it. The teachers are professionals. When the kids get back to school, whether it's later this spring or during some summer school or in the fall, the teachers are going to help us all to catch up and our kids to catch up. Right now, the focus needs to be on our well-being and on a sense of normalcy and a sense of routine, and not going to the mat, not going to battles with our kids over things related to school. I hope that makes sense. I've been using a phrase with parents that I work with that just, if you win the hour, if you have one good hour academically with your kids at school, at home, when you're trying to do homeschooling, you've won the day. One good hour gets it. That should be if we can pull that off each day, we're doing great. And our kids are going to be okay as long as we're continuing to prioritize our own well-being, our own self-care, our own sense of balance. That's the thing that's going to be most important for our kids. So, LaDon, those were sort of the remarks I wanted to share. And I know that you wanted me to pose a question. Is this the moment you wanted me to pose that question?
Well, yeah, but I actually want to I heard so many good nuggets. One, that you said that resilience is not something that we're born with, it's something that we earned by going through things. And I think that's really powerful, because I'm pretty sure I get a lot of thumbs up if I've asked anybody on this call have gone through some things and lived through it, because we're still here together. The importance of sleep, the physical activity, the social connections, no longer using the term at all of physical distancing. Social distancing, because what we're doing is physical distancing. Finding quiet, and that we shouldn't expect to be teachers like the teachers our children are to get in their classrooms, but one good hour of learning with your child is powerful. And one of the things I've read, maybe I heard, was, it also counts when your child is cooking dinner with you, because there's math that's being learned there, there's patience that's being learned there, there's balance, because you have to move something from one place to another without dropping it, right? So there's a lot of different things that are learned during that time. And that it's this sense of balance. I think that's what we're all working towards. And if we can try to get some of these 4 things every day, to the point that we're doing all 4 of these things every day, would be a really powerful thing to do in this time. And I think Layla had written in the comments that our children are watching. And Matt said that over and over again, that our children are watching, as his handsome son is off to the right of him. Right?
And my kids watching right here.
So the importance of doing that. So I know that there's some things in the chat, and the first thing I want to do is stop the recording.